It was a year ago today that I was elated to have our featured speaker come and speak at McAllen for the first time. And after that day, our friendship blossomed and bloomed and was enriched by more opportunities for us to get to know each other, be encouraged by one another's spirits. As Brother Ray mentioned this morning in his message, our iron sharpened one another's iron. And because of him and my relationship, I've become a better servant in the King's service. My iron has been sharpened, I have been strengthened, and I'm excited about what the man of God has in store for us today. He has a heart for young people. He has a way of reaching us on a level that excites me every time. I just look forward to the way he delivers the Word of God and how it will impact your lives today. He's also been here for our youth gospel meeting. We look forward to bringing him back again for other opportunities, including our state youth conference next year. So, without further ado, I would like to present to you today our featured speaker, Brother B. Chris Simpson, all the way from Memphis, Tennessee.
My name is B. Chris, and I'm a traveling speaker, a husband, father, friend, student, and teacher. I have made young mistakes, wrong turns, and bad choices, stepping with sinners and listening to evil voices. I went from popular to lonely, befriended to alone, throwing rocks at others, but eventually being stoned. All the poor decisions and the social abuse, God would redeem in me and one day put to use. I have been here a number of times before, and so because of that, I'm gonna just talk to y'all today. You know, I was once your age, so I know what it's like to be young. Whenever I was your age, I may have gotten into some things. I was bullied and I was mistreated. And so because of that, I bullied others and I mistreated them. And so I got into trouble in school. By the 6th grade, they were trying to expel me from my school. By the 7th grade, my parents were working with teachers to attempt to find an alternative school for me to go to. Because when you were written up so many times, you had to be removed from one school and then put in another one. And so my school experience was up and down. On the one hand, I was a class clown, always getting into trouble. On the other hand, I was insecure, deeply not knowing who I was, making the wrong kinds of friends. It just so happened though, even though I'm in this rock and a hard place, even though on the one hand, I'm this one person who seems strong, but on the other hand, I'm this very weak person. Brother Michael Crosby found me when I was 13 years old. When I was 13 years old, Michael Crosby, he was my brother Robin Mitchell. It's just that Brother Crosby was super tall and super big. Like he was like this bodybuilder dude. And so he was always sweating, you know what I'm saying? How bodybuilders and like people who super muscular, they just always look like they getting ready to work out. It's like even if they at church in a suit, it's like, bro, you squatting? And that's how Brother Crosby was. He was just like a brick in a suit. And he came to our church and he began to teach me. He began to use me. And by the time I was 13, I started to serve in the children's church. I started to assist my mother teaching. By the time I was 16, I took over the puppet ministry. So when I see you young folks up here doing things, it's like, wow, I remember that. By the time I was 16, I took over the puppet ministry, and the confidence that Brother Crosby gave me, the confidence that he instilled in me is something that I still use even today. I can talk about Leola Polk. Leola Polk was this one sister in the church. And you know how some sisters in the church are more like grandmothers, but other sisters in the church, they're older, but they still kind of jive, you know what I'm saying? So Sister Leola Polk was one of them jivey ladies who walk about the church like this. Hey baby, how you doing? And she was greeting people. And it's so interesting because by the time that I was 16, I took my own class. I started teaching 8, 9, and 10-year-olds. And when I started teaching them, when I stand in front of them, it seems sort of out of body because inside I'm broken. Inside I feel small. Inside I've acted out in school. Inside I've made wrong friends. Inside I've thought less of myself than God thinks of me. But when I'm in front of these students, I got to give them something. So interestingly, when I studied under Brother Crosby and I started teaching my own class, I would come up with these assignments. And when I had these assignments, one of them was I was going to take all of my students, I lined them up, and we were studying creation. And so, you know, there are 7 days in that story. And so then I took them out of the church building in the single file line. I grew up in a very large church, and so they had these huge stairs that went from the street upward. And so then I put them in a line, and I took them all the way from one side of the building, single file down the street to the front of the building. Sister Leola Polk, she was one of the greeters, and so she was always standing at the front of the glass doors. So she sees me, this 16-year-old, with about 10, 8, 9, and 10-year-olds behind me. And when she's seeing me with these 8, 9, and 10-year-olds behind me, I march them up to the top of the stairs. It's probably about 15 stairs. I have them sit down, and then I give my instruction. I say, all right, you guys, we studying the 7 days of creation. I want you to take your pen, take your paper, close your eyes, and I tell them, just listen. After you've listened, open your eyes and look. After you've looked, take your hands and feel. And I told them, whatever you hear, whatever you see, whatever you feel, I want you to write it down and label what day of creation that thing you are seeing or hearing or feeling was made. And in the middle of me doing that, Sister Leola Pope, she leans down, she calls me up. And when I go up, she says, I see what you're doing with them kids. I'm going to start calling you professor, because you're like a little professor out here with these little babies. Which was weird because to me, I could not have imagined that I would be seen as something like that. I got into a whole lot of trouble in school. Around the 8th grade, they was trying to jump me. I may or may not have deserved this. My main concern was to be popular, because I don't know where I got this from, but I thought that if I'm to have any worth, people should know me and people should like me. I don't know where I got that from. I didn't know that there was another option at the time. I just remember thinking that in order for me to have some type of worth, I have to be liked by people, and people have to know who I am. And so that's what really got me into this trouble, what really got me into this drama. Because really, I was trying to just make friends, but I didn't feel super confident that I could make the type of friends that I needed to without resorting to some of these things. And so I may or may not have said some ugly things about people. Long story short, I missed one day of school. It was a Friday. By the time I got back on that Monday, half the school was plotting to jump me. That's how it happens. I'm just trying to make friends, and I'm making jokes at the expense of others, and it only takes one day. I have been voted the 3rd most popular kid in the school on the boys' side. You have these lists that they put out in the school newspaper, the top 10 most popular kids. I was number 3 of 10. But for whatever reason, I missed that day of school, and all of the joking, all of the joning, all of the roasting I had done to try to be their class clown had come back and bit me in the behind. And so when I stepped into the school on that Monday, half the school trying to jump. What's crazy is that was the scariest time of my life. And I don't know how I got into that situation. A lot of times as young people, you look up and you're in a situation and you don't even know how you got there. It's really because you're trying to be something. It's really because you want friends. It's really because you want relationships. It's really because when you look in the mirror, you kind of look ugly to yourself a little bit. Only because you compare what you look like to somebody else. I remember when I looked in the mirror and I was like, man, I'm just not like David. David's my brother. I'm just not like David. When other people saw me, they was like, he's not like David, is he? They would actually say, yeah, he's nice, he's cool, but he's not quite like his brother. And so how is it that I'm going to school, half the school trying to jump you, boy, and I don't even know how it happened? Because inside something is broken. Inside something ain't clicking. But at the exact same time that something inside of me was broken, at the exact same time that something inside of me was not clicking, Brother Mike Crosby gave me my own ministry at the church when I was 16. Sister Leola Pope, she come down to me and she say, you kind of look like a professor. I'm digging on that. Another youth worker of ours named Paula Russ, she came to me and she said, I want you to be a part of a newsletter that we're going to do in the youth group. And I was always talking. That's one thing that got me into so much trouble when I was your age. I was always talking. And because I was always talking, a lot of people didn't like that about me. But it was Paula Russ. She said, you know what, you talk a lot. I think one day you're going to be a lawyer. And I said to myself, a lawyer? That's for smart people. You may not know that in the 8th grade, not only was I getting ready to be put out of school, I was also about to be retained because I made such poor grades. Yo, it's hard and it takes a lot of work to try to be the most popular kid in the school. How I'm going to be the most popular kid in the school and do work? You just can't do that. I remember when I was your age, bro, in Sunday school, I would come dressed in my suit with the top, with the little handkerchief, shined up shoes. And this is back in the day when we ain't had these cell phones with Bibles on them, so we had to carry a Bible. You know, I didn't carry a Bible. You know what I carried? A brush. You know how long ago this was for me to carry a brush? Yo, because back then I had something to brush. Does that make sense? So I'm like coming into the class with a brush. And my Sunday school teacher would say, hey, can you read a brush? What I'm trying to say is there's something broken inside of me. And so then when Paula Russ, she says, yeah, I think you could be a lawyer. She doesn't know that it's something broken inside of me. She doesn't know that half the school want to jump me. She doesn't know that I'm making straight S. But the fact that she said it and believed it, it did something to me. You know, whenever I almost got jumped, I spent about 3 months with people putting hits out on me. And I grew up in Oak Cliff in Dallas, Texas. So it's not really like it is these days. You know, these days people got rules. These days people be like, okay, we're going to suspend you if you say something inappropriate. But when we was coming up, things were not strict like that. In one way they were strict, in another way they weren't. Where I come from, when people get jumped, they get stomped to death. They be bloody on the sidewalk. It was during that time, about 3 months, this young lady named Joanna. She was always sort of different. She was in our friend group at school. But you know how some people in your friend group are different? You know, some people in your friend group, they the messy ones, always ready to talk about somebody. Some people in your friend group, they the ones who are always cracking jokes on somebody else. That's who I was. But some people in your friend group, normally they are the outliers. They're the ones who sort of kind of don't say bad things. They sort of laugh, but still keep it appropriate. As it turns out, that out of my friend group, whenever everybody had turned against me in school, it was Joanna who in the middle of the hallway, she passed through that friend group. She came right up to me and she started talking to me like nothing had happened. I remember being shocked and thinking to myself, wow, sis, you super brave. But it was as if she didn't care. You know, to this day, that has changed how I view friendship. To this day, what Joanna did to me has changed who I am. I was always getting into trouble, and people really did want to do me in. Somehow I always got away, though. Somehow I always sort of made it out by the skin of my teeth. It wasn't until I was a grown-up a few years ago that my brother, David, who I referenced already, he and I were talking, and he was like, bruh, you remember when Daddy used to say this or when Daddy used to say that? My father, he died when I was 21. And so, you know, when you lose your parents, you get around a table or on the phone with your siblings and you start talking about who your parents were to reminisce because you missed them. My brother and I, we were talking about what Daddy used to say. We were talking about what Daddy used to do. We were talking about all these weird things. You know how parents are. Parents are always doing stuff. And it makes sense to them. But to us, it's like, this is strange. This is weird. Please don't talk to me in public. Stop speaking out loud. Don't call my name again. So me and my brother, we talking about this, and we, switching back and forth different stories. And David, he says, bro, let me tell you something. Do you remember how Daddy was always like, hey, whatever you do, take care of your brother. Whatever you do, choose your brother. I know you're going to make friends, but whatever you do, choose your brother over them. He's just going on and on. He's like, man, I was so tired of hearing this story, hearing him tell me this every school year. And so then when my brother's telling me these words, I'm like, no, bro, I don't remember that. My brother says, no. You remember how Daddy was always like, hey, always choose your brother. I know you're going to make friends, but always choose your brother over your friends. Always make sure he's okay. And I was like, David, I don't know what you're talking about. Daddy ain't never said nothing like that to me. And then it occurred to me, all the times I should have been beat up, my brother was taking care of me and I didn't even know it. It occurred to me, all those times I was making jokes about somebody and they wanted to come down on my face, stomp me with both feet, they didn't, because my brother was in the background taking care of me. What I'm saying is, inside of me, when I was your age, it was some brokenness. The brokenness comes from all kind of things, comes from all kind of places. And when we're broken on the inside, we want to reach out to people so that they can help keep us alive, which is a good thing. But sometimes we don't always do it right. But sometimes we do. It just so happened that when I was broken on the inside, getting ready to flunk out of school, when I was broken on this side, having made awful decisions, poor choices in my life as a young person, when I was broken on the inside and all of these things happened, Michael Crosby, he asked me to teach a class at church. Leola Polk, she was like, I think you're gifted. You seem like a teacher. Paula Rust, she was like, you talk a lot, but I think you can be a lawyer. Joanna Brown, she was like, you know what? I see what other people are saying about you, but I still think you're cool. I think you just made some mistakes. And my brother, he was protecting me, even when I didn't know it. The pressure I feel drives all my anxiety and fears. On my knees in the dark of morning, crying tears. Assaulted by thousands of opinions, my nerves are afloat. I can't do this, my mouth is broken. I speak with a stutter. My duty is endless. What of my children? What of my wife? I am broken by my schedule. Alert, cut like a knife. When the terrain gets too rocky and the road too rough, I cling on to those people who insisted that I was enough. You know how it is whenever you're young. I mean, I see y'all. I look at you guys and I see y'all. I see y'all style. I got some style. I like that. You got the braids, you know what I'm saying? Yes, braids. Yes. Like you know braids, right? You're like, oh, what am I gonna do with my braids today? Like you got the different kind of styles. You got the side one, yes, looking good. Then sometimes you put it up, and wrap it up, and oh, Cardi, A, B, and C. I see the fellas too. Got that new. Got that swag on your feet. We ain't wearing socks no more, bro. Socks is out. No socks, no socks. Whenever I was y'all's age, dressing was very important to me because I walked around with this insecurity that I wasn't enough. And so then I had to look good, because if you're not enough, you got to at least look like you enough. So I walked around swagged out always. Always. What's crazy is sometimes I would get a little too crazy. I mean, one time there was this wedding. It was a huge wedding. Very, very popular people in the churches throughout Dallas. It was going to be in my church, and we were all invited. It was on a Saturday. And so I said, what am I going to wear? What am I going to wear? I pulled out that blue pinstripe Tommy Hilfiger jacket. Ugh. I said, now what? I hit him with the stripy shirt. Hit him with the stripy shirt. Ugh. That was before we was bunning all up to the top. I let it loose up here. I let it loose. I had the black shoe with the buckle. I had the black shoe with the buckle. See, I don't know about that buckle light. And then I was like, okay, now I gotta set it off. So I took some shades. See, back in the day, nowadays, people just got shades that are normally dark, brown, black. Back in the day, you had shades of all kind of variations. You had the black and the brown, but you also had the red shades. You had the gray tint shades, had the brown tint shades. Eee. And so I said, let me go to my little shade collection. And I pulled out the little gray tint shades. And I was like, I'm finna wear them into the church. Kept them on the whole wedding. Now, I'm 32 years old. Looking back, I look like an idiot. Y'all gonna look at these pictures right now. Watch this. Hold up. 15 years from now, you're gonna look back at what you got on and you're like, wow, bro. I can't believe I was wearing that. Like, ugh, my hair looking super big. Ugh, what's with these buckles on my shoes? Ugh. You know what I'm saying? Like, dreadlocks was so in. I can't believe I wasn't combing my hair back then. Watch this. One day, your kids are going to be like, Mama, don't nobody wear braids no more? Ugh, what is it, 2019? You're going to be struggling with that. When I look back at that wedding, what I wore, I feel like I was looking real stupid, real ignorant. It's like, why this 17-year-old got shades on inside the building? It just so happened that Sister Sandra Marchant, she came up to me, and she was like, I see you, GQ, I see you. What's crazy about Sister Sandra Marchant saying that is that really, she didn't know, hey, Sister Marchant, the real reason that I'm wearing these clothes and wearing shades on the inside is because I feel very small inside. And I feel like I gotta prove something to people. And I feel broken inside, and I hide it by making jokes at the back of the room. I hide it by always looking fly. I hide it by walking around with a brush. I hide it by doing all these things. So when she looked past all of that and she was like, but at least you're brave enough to be yourself. That's a good thing. Wow. Years later, I still carry that with me. Then you know what? Sometimes be brave enough to be yourself. Even if it's not all right, at least you have that. To this day, when I go back home and I see Sister Sandra Marchant, she still calls me GQ. When I was about 16 years old, Dr. David Lane, my minister, he moved from St. Louis down to my church in Dallas. And there was this class called Major Christian Doctrine. My middle school life was so threatening, y'all. By the time I got to high school, I had no friends. Like, I was scared to make friends. You imagine if in the 8th grade, half the school, I'm from Dallas, Texas, it was like 2,000 students in my middle school. You imagine half the school trying to jump you. You feel like I'm not even confident to make friends. And so then by the time I got to high school, I didn't talk to people. I was super reclusive, and I never came out. People thought that I was quiet because I just was so uncomfortable talking to people, fearing that something in high school could happen like it happened in middle school. And so things were very difficult. And so I decided to take my walk with the Lord serious because, you know, when things get difficult, your walk with the Lord is basically all you got. And so I remember when David Lane, Dr. Lane, he came to my church, he offered this class called Major Christian Doctrine. It was a class for older people. But it ain't like I got no friends. It ain't like I can go out with people on the weekends. So I decided to take his class. It was on a Monday night. I took his class and I started learning about these doctrines in Christianity, real deep type stuff that you don't learn about in regular Bible class. When I'm learning about all this stuff, wow, I feel like the Lord is showing me these things. The Bible opens up. I start learning new things about God's Word I never knew before. And because I started learning, I thought it was interesting, so I started to talk out in the class and sort of ask some things. I remember Dr. Lane looking at me, and he said, wow, that's insightful. And I thought to myself, me? Insightful? I mean, you bear in mind all the brokenness I got. Do you know that when I was in high school, because of what happened to me in middle school, I never really ate lunch. Because I was too afraid to go into the cafeteria and eat by myself. Too afraid to make friends. Too afraid to sit down with somebody. So this kid is in Dr. Lane's class, and Dr. Lane says, wow, that's insightful. Me? Insightful. Shoot, by the time I became a 12th grader, I had this one teacher named Mr. Hunt. Mr. Hunt was this white man, and he was like quirky. You know, some teachers are quirky. He used to move around like this. That's how he did. I had to take them for a class when I was in the 11th grade called communications. I gave a speech, which was really hard on me because y'all may not know, but I have a speech impediment. I grew up stuttering, so I can't speak very well. I gave the speech, and Mr. Hunt came to me, and he said, I want you to be in my speech and debate class next year. And I was like, no, bro, miss me with that. I'm in this class because it's a requirement. I don't want to be in this class like my whole life. Mr. Hunt was like, no, I need you to do it. He's like, no, I need you to do it. I was like, I'm not going to be in the speech and debate class, bro. But he hounded me. This man harassed me. And so finally I was like, okay, senior year come, I'm in the speech and debate class. I'm a senior. I'm in speech and debate 1, meaning that I'm in a class full of who? Ninth graders. So here I am. Y'all know I always been this big. So I'm like 6'2", 350 pounds inside the class with these ninth graders looking like children. Super embarrassed. Mr. Hunt, he says, I want you to make a speech about stereotypes. Just do something with it. So then I made a speech about how just because I'm tall, everybody expects me to play basketball. Because my brother played, my daddy played, but here I am. I don't play no basketball. I'm just this loser out here eating lunch by myself, scared that what's happened to me in the 8th grade will happen to me in the 12th grade. Real dumb type stuff, right? Well, I went to this speech and debate competition, and I hit first place.
All right.
And I was like, man, that was luck. Ms. Hunt said, I want to take you to a bigger competition. I was like, I don't want to go to a bigger competition. He was like, I'm taking you to a bigger competition. I was like, you miss me with that, bro. I can't speak in front of people. He said, I want you to go to a classroom in the other building. I've arranged for you to give your speech there. I was like, at my school? I was like, hold on, Mr. Hunt, hold on. I was like, hold on. Are you trying to say that you want me to go to a classroom at my school and give a speech in front of my peers? In this school? On the count of 3. Miss me with that. 1, 2, 3.
Miss me with that.
I was like, hey, Mr. Hunt. I said, I appreciate you. I get you a teacher. You're trying to make it, you know what I'm saying, good for us. You're trying to help us out. But I'm not going to no classroom. You don't understand. I've been stuttering my whole life. I cannot pronounce my words correctly. I told Mr. Hunt, I'm not getting ready to get up in front of no people and say nothing. You know what Mr. Hunt said? You do it. I need you to go to this classroom and give a speech. He hounded me. And so now I'm in front of the classroom giving this speech. That was the nervous I'd ever been. I thought that my heart was going to come out of my mouth, like I was going to vomit. My heart, it was beating so fast. I walked down the hallway, glad it's over, a couple days later, and this one kid is like, aren't you the kid who gave the speech in my class? And you know, I turned into Peter. I started denying it. No, I didn't. I don't know what's going on. I ain't in speech class. What you talking about? Until they was like, you did a good job. It was Mr. Hunt who stayed on me, hounded me, and he was responsible for setting me up with speech competitions that paid for my first year of college out of state. It's so strange because I'm all broken inside and I'm all scared and I want to talk to people. Here comes Mr. Hunt. Man, when I was in my speech competitions, y'all, you know, speech competitions be in a room like this with desks. And I mean like the little booty desks, you know what I'm saying, for kids. You know what I'm saying? They're like the desks in school. And so it be kids from all over the district, many districts, and you just in here with all these children. So you, in original oratory, I did that, and I also did student congress and extemporaneous speaking. Classroom full of young people. Y'all, I'm in this classroom, nervous. And what do I hear down the hallway outside the classroom? This. You know what that is? My daddy had a terminal illness, called sarcoidosis in his lungs. We have two lungs. My father had 33% of one. So he was always coughing. I'm sitting in the classroom, which is like 40 minutes from my house. And what do I hear coming up the hallway? And I'm like, Daddy, did you call me? I'm like, why my daddy here? What do I hear behind the coffin? This right here. Who was that? Mother. That's mother with him. Y'all, why do my parents come into this speech and debate classroom to see me do this? You know how embarrassing this is? Bro, speech and debate not like basketball. You go see your kids do basketball. You don't go see your kids be in this student congress. Wanna know why? Reason number one, these seats for little booties though. This is the little booty seats for the young people. Have you ever been my age and try to sit down in the seats y'all sit in at school? That's crazy. Bro, it's like you gotta put a rope around me and be like, and then bend me down and fold me up to get into that thing. And so my parents, they in this place right now. And it's crazy. Looking back, I'm like, why y'all in here? But as a 32-year-old man, I'm like, wow. I can't believe that my parents will come support me in things that most parents wouldn't even think to go see their kids in. You know, I always kind of felt like because I didn't play sports, because I wasn't really like my brother, that I wasn't like everybody else, right? So get this. I had these two cousins named Scooter and Trent. How many of us got cousins? Cousins like your best friends, right? Scooter and Trent, they were younger than me though. Scooter was 2 years younger than I, and then Trent was 4 years younger than me. And we was always laughing and joking and playing. Y'all don't understand. I come from a family of people who play sports. I am the shortest person in my family. The shortest. All my cousins went to school full rod to play basketball. They are 6'5", 6'6". My tallest cousin is 6'10". Wow. So I grew up with these real strange expectations that I could never meet, many of which I put on myself. All I know is we was playing around the house. Me and my cousins, we would spend most of the summer together. And we was working out, doing push-ups. You know, whenever you feel like, man, I need to put on some weight so I can, you know what I'm saying, holler at these females or something, or like try to at least measure up, you know what I'm saying? So we ended up doing push-ups and stuff. And my cousin, we got this camera out. And see, back in the day, we didn't have what y'all have, like the doo-doo. We had this kind of camera. Clink, clink, flash. Clink, clink, flash. My cousin, he like, hey, Chris. Hey, pose for me, bro. Hit that double. And I was like, who, me? Nah, stop. We work now, bro. Nah, stop that. He was like, nah, hit that pose, bro. I was like, me? Nah, bro, nah. He like, hit it, bro. And I was like, ugh, stop that, bro. Cut that out. He's like, come on, bro, hit it. I was like, nah, bro. Then I was like, he's like, hit it, bro, hit it. I was like, stop that, bro. You know I ain't got nothing. You good. I just feel like, bro, I'm not like y'all, man. I ain't strong. Tell me why. A couple years later, I go into my cousin's room. He done developed that picture and got it up on his mirror with a couple of others of the family. And I go in there and I'm like, is that me? I say, Scooter, what is this, bro? You hung this picture? He was like, yeah, bro. Wow. We family. You was killing it. Of course, Scooter's just talking, but to me, I'm like, what? I can't believe that somebody else sees me differently than I see myself. You know, sometimes loneliness breaks in, and I fight tooth and nail to keep from sinning. At 32 years old, it's scary to think that this is only the beginning. I steady myself. I think about all those who have gone, who have encouraged me. They were the hands and feet of God. By their prayers, he heard my plea. Jesus has done this already. I feel confidence deep in my gut. I'm going to finish this race, claim the victory, and win no matter what. I can feel new growth in me, old things dug up and plowed. This is the benefit of good friends, witnesses in the rain and the cloud. I've been giving you guys my testimony. I'm not really preaching, I'm just talking to you. I want you to repeat after me. Increase your circle. You know, whenever I was brought in to speak about family, the first thing I thought about, what some of our speakers said so far today, is that really friends can be family. And family can be friends, especially in our day and age. You know, 100 years ago, you didn't move away from your family. 100 years ago, you grew up in the same community that your grandparents did, and your great-grandparents and your great-great-grandparents. But of course today, I grew up my whole life in Dallas, but I live in Memphis, 7 hours away. My brother, he grew up his whole life in Dallas, but he lives in Tucson, Arizona, 17 hours away. And so now, today, things are different. And you know this, you know that your friends are like your family. Today you have things like Friendsgiving, where sometimes you go home, like you graduate from college, sometimes you go home to be with your parents and your family. Other times, you just get out with your homies and go to Cancun, you know. This is how we do today. So a lot of times, our friends become our family. But I want you to remember the necessity of increasing your circle. If you want to make it in life, if you want your Christian walk to be advanced, you have to increase your circle. You know, we read 1 Kings 21 through 22, and I use that loosely. I know some of y'all want to read nothing, but I'll review it this way. In 1 Kings 21 through 22, we see some examples of what can happen when the people in your life ain't for you. Mm-hmm. When the people in your life screwing you up. We just think, okay, if we dress alike, we good. Okay, if the person is funny like me, we good. Or if they're quiet like me, we good. If we're on the same team, we good. If we go to the same church, we good. What I'm saying is, you need to increase your circle, because the people in your life, they are like buttons on elevators. They either take you up or take you down. They either open doors or close them. But one thing is for sure, if you use them, they always do something. You're not going to have a friend in your life that's just, you know, neutral. You're not going to have a relationship with your family in your life that's neutral. Every single person you put in your life, every person you sit next to, every person you FaceTime, every person you hidden in the DM, they are doing something to you like buttons on an elevator. They're either bringing you up or taking you down, opening or closing doors. So you have to increase your circle. We read 21 through 22. King Ahab married this awful woman by the name of Jezebel. Your boy Ahab is like, I'm the king. I run this whole city. He goes to a man named Naboth and he says, Naboth, I'm trying to plant a garden because I want more vegetables. Give me your garden. Naboth is like, I would, King Ahab, but God has rules about this. I can't sell a garden that belongs to my family for generations according to the law of God. So I hate to decline, but I have to. So what does Ahab do, the king of Israel? Ahab goes back to his room and he like, hate him, bro. His ugly wife Jezebel, she come in like, what's wrong, boo? Nothing. No, I know something's the matter. Man, I'm the king and I just want some green beans, bro. And I went to Naboth and I was like, Naboth, let me get that garden, bro. I'll pay you for it. He was like, nah, this my family land. I can't sell this. This my family land. This God's land. What does Jezebel do? Don't worry. I'm going to get the land for you. So Jezebel arranges to have Naboth killed. Go back to her husband and say, hey, boo, I got your man. He's like, I appreciate that. Listen, we need to beware of friends who mirror the worst in us. 1 Kings 21, 15 through 16. And it came to pass when Jezebel heard that Naboth had been stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, which he refused to give you for money, for Naboth is not alive but dead. You need to be careful of making friends who mirror the worst in you. Sometimes we think, no, we should be friends because we're so much alike. Maybe that's a bad thing. You messy. And so when you get a messy friend, you think, oh, we so much alike, we should be friends. Not so. Maybe you shouldn't be friends because you're messy. Oh, no, that's just the homie right there. That's just the homie. Wait a minute, before he the homie, hold up. Tell me this. Do you hit up every girl's DM? You don't care who the girl is. You just seen her at Taco Bell, right? And so it's like you run around trying to get into everybody's DM, and now your homie do the same thing, and that's why y'all tight. That's how y'all connected, because you're both negative, because you're both messy, because you both dress like streetwalkers, because you're both in everybody's DM. And so that's why we friends. The reality is, maybe you should not be friends because you're alike. Right. Do not get friends who mirror the worst in you. We have to make friends and build relationships with people who mirror the best in us and not the worst. So your boy Ahab is awful, selfish, and so now he got a wife who awful and selfish. Let's keep going. In 1 Kings 21, the same king, Ahab, he says, you know what I want? Ahab says, I want to go to war over a piece of land. Ahab, always about conquering the world. He says, I want to go to war over a piece of land. And so then Jehoshaphat the king comes, and Jehoshaphat, his homie, he says, okay, well, let's ask the prophets. Ahab asked 400 prophets, do you think that I should go to war for this land? The 400 prophets says, yes, yes. Jehoshaphat, the king from the south, he says, shouldn't we ask one of God's prophets? Because these 400 prophets getting ready to get you killed. He goes and asks God's prophet Micaiah, and God's prophet says, no, God does not want you to go to war for this land. But then he called the 400 prophets, and the 400 prophets said, yes, yes, you should do it, yeah, you're going to kill it, Ahab. The prophet of God said, Ahab don't understand. God showed me a vision where he was in heaven with all of the angels and all of the demons, like the whole council. And God said, we want to lead Ahab into battle so that he may die for what he did to Naboth. What are we going to do? A spirit arose and said, I will put a lying spirit in the mouths of Ahab's prophets. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, your boy Ahab is like, no, surely 400 people telling me to fight are more right than one person telling me not to. The Bible says this in 1 Kings 22, 13 and following. Then the messenger who had gone to call Micaiah spoke to him, saying, now listen, the words of the prophets with one accord encouraged the king. Please let your word be like the word of one of them and speak encouragement. But Micaiah said, as the Lord lives, whatever the Lord tells to me, that's what I'm going to speak. See, it's interesting that Ahab preferred to side with the 400 prophets who told him wrong than the one prophet who would tell him right. In your life, beware of all of your yes friends. All of your friends who gonna always say yes. Well, girl, I don't know. Should I go with him? Yes. Well, I don't know. He get kind of rough. Should I stay with him? Yes.
No.
I don't know, bro. She fine though. She fine. I feel like I need to just go on ahead and yes. I just feel like if we just gone on ahead and finish doing this work, it's cool, bro. A 75 better than a 0. What do you think we should do? Yes. Yo, I feel like I should just go to this school. Yeah, ain't that a party school? I mean, yeah. I mean, but are you strong enough in your spiritual journey with the Lord to go to a party state school? I mean, maybe some of us are, but are you?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Yo, beware of the friends in your life who always say yes. Because just like them 400 prophets who got Ahab killed, they're going to get you killed too. Last point. All right. What about Jehoshaphat? The Bible says that Jehoshaphat, he was king down south, which was the good part of the nation. He went up to the north with Ahab, which was the bad part of the nation. The Bible says that Jehoshaphat was a good king, but Ahab was an evil one. Jehoshaphat, running with Ahab, he go up to visit Ahab, and Ahab, this is when he pitches this whole idea to try to take over this land and get these prophets involved. This is what's interesting. The Bible says in 1 Kings 22, 1 through 4. Now, 3 years passed without war between Syria and Israel. Then it came to pass in the third year that Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, went down to visit the king of Israel. And the king of Israel said to his servants, do you know that Ramoth in Gilead is ours, but we hesitate to take it out of the hand of the king of Syria? So he said to Jehoshaphat, will you go with me to fight at Ramoth Gilead? Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, I am as you are, my people as your people, my horses as your horses. Have you ever had a friend that was sort of a bad influence? Your mama said that. Your daddy said that. Your teachers at the Bible class said that. But you was like, nah, bro, you can't judge these people. Nah, let them grow, let them grow. And so now you all in a relationship with these bad people. And you tell them things like that. We won. What's mine is yours. We in this together. Wonder what's crazy? When you side with bad people, you die. Jehoshaphat was a good king. He had no business even being up there with King Ahab. Later on in this same passage as we read, Jehoshaphat almost loses his life. Ahab says, okay, let's both go into war over this land. My 400 prophets said we should. Only one said we should. He tells Jehoshaphat, I'm going to wear regular clothes, but you wear king's clothes. They were both kings, so both of them should have had on king's clothes. Ahab said, I want you to wear king's clothes. Okay. So now we in this war. Ahab, he got on regular soldier clothes, whereas Jehoshaphat out there with his king clothes. Whenever Syria comes to war against the Israelites, the Syrian commander says, we only trying to kill one person. Who is one person? The king. They said, so whatever you do, just look for the king. Kill him. Leave everybody else. We just want the king. The king, though, the real king of Israel, is wearing regular clothes. Who got on the king's clothes? Jehoshaphat. Jojo out here with the king's clothes on because Ahab, his best friend, said, why don't you wear the king's clothes? Just in case Micaiah was right, why don't you wear the king's clothes so I can keep my life? So Jehoshaphat, fooling with Ahab, almost got his life took. That's my point. Don't fool with people who don't get your life took. Happens all the time. You feel like, oh no, I'm a good king. I'm going to be all right. We good. You're not good. Because things in the north get crazy. Things in the north, you got people saying, oh yeah, we won, but they're going to put you in harm's way. And Jehoshaphat had to learn that the hard way. Let me read this scripture. Hebrews 12, 1 and following. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. And let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. The Bible says here in Hebrews that there is a cloud of witnesses that enables us to throw off the things in our life that hinder us, those insecurities, those things that make us afraid. There is a cloud of witnesses that also helps us to be detangled from the sin. All of the materialism, all of the selfishness, all of the lust, all of the pornography, all of the awful things that's in our histories on our phone. There's a cloud of people that can help untangle us from those things. And finally, that same cloud can help us to fix our eyes on Jesus. And when I think about increasing your circle, increasing our circle, when I think about what happened with Jezebel and Ahab and the 400 prophets and Micaiah and Jehoshaphat, when I think about you all trying to build a family for yourself, a family that includes your real family, a family that includes your church family, a family that includes hand-chosen friends who have your best interest in mind. I want you to create a cloud of people that helps you to throw off your weight of insecurity, not put more insecurity on you. A cloud of people that helps you to be detangled from sin, not further entangled in sin. And a cloud of people in your life who can help you fix your eyes on Jesus and not away from him. These are 6 things that you can do to increase your circle. I want you to repeat after me. Number 1. I want you to repeat after me. Number 1.
Number 1.
Broaden
The
parameters of your circle.
circle.
Sometimes y'all circles suck. Let me tell you why. Your parameters are too small. They're too little. I only like to be with bad snitches. Because you want to be a bad snitch. So you like to be around bad snitches. Guess what? Them bad snitches, just like Ahab, gonna get your life took.
Yep.
Broaden your sphere. It's like, no, I play basketball, so I'm gonna hang with basketball players. No, broaden your parameters. Yo, the age needs to be broadened. Gender, class, race. Leola Polk was one of the most encouraging people to me in my childhood. She was 60. You need to broaden the parameters. Paula Rusk, she told me, you know what? You can be a lawyer. She changed my life when she told me that. She was like 34. Terry Hunt, who was forcing me to do all these things in my life, was a strange white man. What I'm trying to say is, you need to broaden the parameters in your life. Some people be like, I don't need friends. That's why you ain't never gonna do or measure up to what God wants you to do and measure up to. Because only when we come together can we be great. So the first thing we gotta do, y'all, is broaden our perspective on friendship, our perspective on family. Repeat after me. Number 2.
Number 2.
Look for those
who
see you
better
than you see yourself.
than you see yourself.
This Jezebel situation, she pulling out the worst that I have. You don't want people who pull out the worst. You want people to say, wow, you really are a good person. Joanna came to me and she was like, I know you got into a lot of mess, but really we all young. Joanna just kept on talking to me, and all throughout high school, she was my friend. What was so crazy about Scooter and Trent? They were younger than me. And so when I looked in the mirror, I thought that I was a small person. I thought that I was insignificant. But my cousins was like, man, that's my big cousin. I love you, bro. They got pictures of me in their house. What I'm saying is, you need to be around people who see you as more than you see yourself. Don't be around people who jealous, envious, looking at you like, well, who you think you are? Well, why you look like that? Who make you feel insecure. You need to surround yourself with people who see you as greater than. When you feeling fat, they like, no, them just curves though. When you feel like you had an awful game, you need somebody to be like, bro, it happens, but I seen you out there working hard. You're going to get better. Surround yourself with people who see further than you. Repeat after me. Number 3.
Number 3.
Recognize who
can
protect you from sin.
protect you from sin.
Let me tell you something who protect me from sin. My brother, who was always in the background, making sure that I wasn't getting hurt, pulling me to the side and saying stuff like, I think that you're making a mistake with this person. My parents, who would pop up anywhere. I'm on a schoolyard and I see a figure out the corner of my eyes, several hundred meters away, and it's my daddy just standing there. He just walking by like he'll pass by. He just checking on his son, seeing what's going on. I'm in the middle of a debate tournament. Oh, there come daddy, there come mother through the hallway. I'm just trying to see what you're here talking about. What's up? You good? Where y'all at? What's going on? Who on the phone with you? You got to make sure that people in your circle can keep you from sin. How many people, raise your hand if you have at least 2 people in your circle who can help protect you from sin. You need at least 2 people who will look at you and be like, that's a sin though. I know you feeling good, bruh. I know you looking cute, sis, but that's a sin. I know you feeling good, but you getting ready to go to hell. That's all I'm trying to say. You getting ready to go to hell, and I can't go with you. Do better. We need people in our life who can help protect us from sin. That's what the cloud is about. Repeat after me. Number 4.
Number 4.
Befriend those who push you toward your calling.
Towards your calling.
Let me tell you about Brother Michael Crosby. He gave me a ministry when I was 13 years old. He was like, go teach with your mama in this class. After that, he went to some like catalog and bought puppets that were like $80 a piece. He gave me a box of expensive puppets and he said, I created something called the puppet ministry. You're over it. And I was like, puppets? I'm like, I just watched Sesame Street. I ain't never done, I don't live on Sesame Street. Like, what you mean, puppets, bro? But that was my first ministry. Do you know that what Brother Crosby did by giving me that box of puppets is the thing that built me to do what I am doing with you right now? You need people in your life who push you toward your calling. How many people in your circle at school be like, I don't know, girl, I feel like you could really go on ahead and be that engineer, though. I feel like you can be an engineer. I feel like, you know what, I think that you can start that ministry to feed the homeless people. I know you just 17, but I think that if you just want to start a ministry where you just put toothpaste and a sandwich and a toothbrush in a bag and just keep them in your mama's car and just hand them out to you, I think you can do that. How many people in your circle are telling you things like that? You've got to befriend people who push you towards your calling. Repeat after me. Number 5.
Number 5.
Be
Be
the above
friend.
All the things we've been talking about. Broadening your perspective and your circle, your parameters. Seeing other people as better than they see themselves. Protecting people from sin. Listen, you want that, so you got to be that.
Amen.
Are you that person with your own friends? Are you protecting your friends from sin? Are you seeing them as more than they are? Are you helping them to broaden their parameters of friendship? If you want to be a friend, the Bible says you got to be friendly. So we have to be the type of friend that we want others to be. Let me tell you the type of situation we find ourselves in. Y'all go to church. A number of y'all, your problem is not that you have bad friends. Most of you don't. Some of y'all are running with people who's shooting in the streets. Most of you aren't. Your problem is the stagnant thing. It's not to say that your friend's trying to take you to hell. It's just to say most of them don't care nothing about hell. They're not pushing you upward. What I'm saying is, you gotta have people in your circle who have the purpose, and that gotta start with you. If you want purpose, you can't expect them to bring it. You have to bring it too. We've talked about a number of things. Number 1, broaden the parameters of your circle. 2, look for those who see you better than you see yourself. Number 3, recognize who will protect you from sin. Number 4, befriend those who push you toward your calling. Number 5, be the type of friend you want to be. And finally, number 6, repeat after me. Honor your family tree. You know, the Bible talks about honoring your father and mother so you can live long on the earth. You got to understand your family tree, though. How many of us know our mothers? Raise your hand if you know your mama. Okay. How many of us know our fathers? Raise your hand if you know your daddy. Okay. How many of us know our grandparents? Raise your hand if you know something about your grandparents. Okay, how many of us know our great-grandparents? Raise your hand if you know something about your great-grandparents. How many of us know our great-great-grandparents? Raise your hand if you know something about your great-great-grandparents. How many of us know our great-great-great-grandparents? Raise your hand if you know something about your great-great-great. Let me tell you something. The scriptures say in Exodus 34 that God shows love to the thousands, but he will not let the guilty go free. He will punish them to the third and the fourth generation. Do you know that you as a 14-year-old, you are still paying for the sins of your great-great-grandparents? That's why things like alcoholism and addiction, studies show, are passed down from generation to generation. What I'm saying is, you need to know your family tree. You need to ask your mom and your daddy, who am I? Where do I come from? You need to do that in your real physical family and in your church family. You go to this church here at McAllen. You need to know the men and the women throughout the generations who built this family, because it's up to you to continue to build it. That's how you increase your circle, y'all. You are young people, but you are not dumb people. You have within the palm of your hand the ability to topple the world. You understand this? And so you have to know what went on before you so that you can know what to do moving forward. You always talk to your parents about how you want more responsibility, how you want to go to the party, you want to be with these types of people. But this is the responsibility. You try to prove to people that you are mature, be mature. Change the world. Grow the church. You are responsible for making your family different. You know that if only 10% of the women in your family graduated from college, or 20% of the marriages in your family did not end in divorce, you already know what the Lord wants you to do. You already know that the Lord wants you to do something with your life, find a Christian spouse, and stay together. We need to make things better in our family, in our churches. Stop being so young. You always talking to your mom and them about not treating you like children. Stop being children. Spend some of that time thinking like a grown-up. Say to yourself, no, I want to make my great-great-great-grandmother proud, who I never knew. I want to go to school and let my great-great-great-granddaddy know, hey, they did not even let you read. You couldn't even read as a slave. I got a degree in English. Yeah, somebody to build the McAlmont church, they put their houses back up. They refinanced their houses to build a church that you could grow up in. Let that inspire you. Think long term. Stop being so simple-minded. You always want your parents to treat you like you big. Be big. Being big is not just going places with your friends, living your boring, insignificant life. Being big is doing stuff like this. I make a difference because I have the calling of God over me. Be called. Be big. And increase your circle. Man, when I think about all the people in my life, they the ones who I think about when I'm doing this stuff. Y'all may not know this. I may have told you, I don't know, I can't remember. Speaking makes me nervous. I'm telling you, it's my least favorite thing to do. You don't even understand. I've been traveling speaking since I was 19. I'm 32. How many years is that? 13 years? That's rough, y'all. I still think that I still have to slow down so that I'm not up here stuttering. I still have to slow down so that my R's are pronounced rows and not woes. That my H's don't trip me up when I speak. I still have to slow down. I still have to look in the mirror and say, hey, look, bruh, you is who you is. Put the jacket on and go preach. Like, bro, I gotta get back in that gym. Yo, that gym ain't gonna help with this word, though. Put the jacket on and go preach. Because ain't nobody noticing you anyway. If you muscular, fat, or ugly, the word is the word. I still gotta tell myself that. It's hard out here. But what I do is I remember Sister Pope. I remember Brother Crosby. I remember my that cough coming down the hallway. I remember that stuff. That's what's giving me the strength. My own cloud of witnesses. The increasing of my circle. That's what's giving me the power to stand up in front of y'all. It's hard to stand up in front of you. You think because you kids, y'all ain't intimidated. No, y'all intimidate. Because let me tell you what's intimidating. This. right here. I know you're preaching, but I don't think that's important. Yeah, it sucks. It's hard. I'm a human. It's hard to come and be like, oh, let me pour my whole story out. And people like, I'm bored. It's cool though. I was bored too. I don't hold it against nobody. Only thing I'm saying is, it's my cloud of witnesses, the increasing of my circle, that allows me to get up here. I have preached in Texas and Boston, in Florida and California. I have preached in Minnesota and Alabama, in all these places that are on separate sides. I have preached in Central America. What I'm saying is, that cloud, my family, my church, my friends, they the ones who got me to this place. I didn't get up and do this by myself. They are the ones who sacrificed, who encouraged, and who put me on a path to where I can do what I do. And that's my prayer for you as young people. I want you to increase your circle so that when you go into the world, you do so empowered. You do so knowing right from wrong and knowing how to make a difference as a strong Christian, ready to make a mark on the world for God and not just be another thought, not just be some other guy, but to be a Christian, to be someone who is strong, even in the face of your fear. Sometimes speaking, y'all, breaks me down. I'm telling you, I'm in the middle of the hotel room crying. It's all late at night. I'm on my knees praying. Lord, I'm tired. My schedule is crazy. I got a wife. I got kids. I'm like, man, I got things to do. But somehow the Lord is making it all work. It's because people have paid for me. Their prayers paid for me. Their love paid for me. Their sacrifice paid for me. The people in this church and Brother Mitchell up here paying for y'all, bro. Take it and do something with it. It's going to be the thing that eventually saves your whole life. With all those things being said, I want to let you know that I love y'all. I know it's not easy being young. I know it's not easy being in a situation like this. This man is going to go on and on. I really am, because I think you're worth it. My prayer for you is that you can learn systematically as you grow how to increase your circle. My name is B. Chris, and I'm a traveling speaker, a husband, father, friend, student, and teacher. I have made young mistakes, wrong turns, and bad choices, stepping with sinners and listening to evil voices. I went from popular to lonely, befriended to alone, throwing rocks at others, but eventually being stoned. All the poor decisions and the social abuse, God would redeem in me and one day put to use. The pressure I feel drives all my anxiety and fears. On my knees in the dark of morning, crying tears. Assaulted by thousands of opinions, my nerves are flutter. I can't do this, my mouth is broken, I speak with a stutter. My duty is endless. What of my children? What of my wife? I am broken by my schedule, alerts cut like a knife. When the terrain gets too rocky and the road too rough, I cling on to those people who insisted I was enough. Sometimes loneliness can break in, and I fight tooth and nail to keep from sinning. At 32 years old, it's scary to think that this is only the beginning. I steady myself. I think about all those who have encouraged me. They were the hands and feet of God. By their prayers, he heard my plea. Jesus has done this already. I can feel confidence growing deep in my gut. I'm going to finish this race and claim the victory and win no matter what. I can feel new growth in me, old things now dug up and plowed. This is the benefit of good friends, witnesses in the cloud.